All right, welcome. Today, we are taking a guided tour of probably the most incredible machine on the planet, your own body. We're going to explore how all these massive, interconnected systems work together in, well, perfect harmony, every single second. Let's get started. No, really, just stop and think about it for a second. As you're sitting here listening to me, your body is doing millions of unbelievably complex things, and you're not even thinking about it. Breathing, digesting, fighting off germs, it's a constant buzz of activity. So, what's actually going on in there? To make sense of all this complexity, let's use a metaphor. Let's think of your body as this bustling, self-sufficient city. And for this little tour, we're going to meet the key departments, the essential services that keep this incredible metropolis running around the clock. Okay, first things first. Any city needs resources, right? It needs fuel for all its cars and power for all its buildings. Your body is no different. So let's start with the intake department. This is the one responsible for bringing in all the food and oxygen. This department has two major branches. On one side, you've got the digestive system. Think of this like the city's fueling stations, breaking down all the food into usable energy and raw materials. Then, on the other side, you've got the respiratory system. That's the city's massive power plant, pulling in all the oxygen we need to actually burn that fuel and power every single cell. The digestive system is just a masterpiece of efficiency, kind of like a highly specialized assembly line. It all kicks off in the mouth, where food gets broken down. Then it heads to the stomach, which is basically a powerful mixing vat that uses acid. But the really crucial part, the real magic, happens in the small intestine. That's where most of the nutrient absorption takes place. And finally, the large intestine does a final cleanup, pulling out water before, waste is eliminated. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, the respiratory system is working as the city's super sophisticated air filtration plant. Air comes into the nasal cavity, where it gets warmed up and filtered. Then it travels down the trachea, the windpipe, which is lined with these tiny little hairs that sweep out junk. And this all leads to the alveoli. We're chucking millions of tiny air sacs where the most critical transaction happens. Oxygen gets into the blood, and carbon dioxide gets taken out. Okay, so we have fuel and we have oxygen. But how do we get all those vital resources to every single corner of our city? Well, that's the job of the distribution department, which is kind of like a combination of a superhighway and a really high-tech security grid. I mean, it is a massive logistical challenge when you think about it. How do you supply trillions of individual citizens, ourselves, that are scattered across every district of the body? The answer is our city's absolutely incredible transportation network. So let's look at the main vehicle for this whole network, blood. What's so interesting when you look at this chart is that most of your blood, about 55% of it, isn't even cells. It's plasma. It's this yellowish liquid that's mostly water. It's the river that everything else flows in. And riding on this plasma liver, we have all these specialized vehicles. The red blood cells, they're the oxygen delivery trucks, carrying their precious cargo to every single neighborhood. The white blood cells, well, they're the city's police force, constantly on patrol looking for invaders. And the platelets? They are the emergency road repair crew, ready to patch up any leaks at a moment's notice. But this blood superhighway isn't the only network. Running right alongside it is a less famous but just as vital system, the city's sanitation and special forces network. This is the lymphatic system, and it circulates a clear fluid called lymph. You can think of it as the city's advanced security and drainage system. It's packed with those white blood cell police officers we were just talking about, all ready to respond to any threat. And this system is a master multitasker. It keeps the fluid balance just right by collecting any extra fluid from our tissues and returning it to the blood. It helps absorb fats from our digestive system, and, so importantly, it filters the lymph through nodes, which act like security checkpoints, trapping and taking care of any pathogens before they can cause widespread trouble. So what happens when the city's defenses are breached? When there's an actual emergency, like an injury? Well, the response is swift, it's coordinated, and it is incredibly effective. It might seem like nothing to us, but even a simple paper cut is a security breach, a break in the city wall. The body's emergency response team doesn't freak out. Instead, it kicks off a very precise 3-step process to contain all the damage. This process is called hemostasis. And what's incredible isn't just the steps, but the speed. First, the damaged blood vessel instantly tightens up to reduce blood flow. Then, platelets swarm the area to form a temporary plug. Finally, this lightning-fast chemical reaction creates a fibrin mesh, which forms a stable clot.
This isn't just repair, it's a high-speed, precision-engineered response.
So, with all these complex systems working together, how do we make sure everything is actually running the way it should be? We have to perform regular citywide audits, basically, to check the health of our infrastructure.
Right. We can't just guess if our internal city is healthy. We need data. And we get that data by running a whole series of diagnostic tests that give us a detailed report card on how our internal systems are doing.
For example, if we want to check on our emergency repair system, we can run hemostasis tests. Tests like prothrombin time, or PT, measure how quickly a clot forms. Another one, APT, checks other specific pathways in that whole process. And a simple platelet count tells us if we have enough of those repair crew members on standby. Together, they give us a really full picture of our city's emergency readiness.
Another critical systems check is blood typing. This basically identifies specific markers or antigens on your red blood cells. Knowing if you're type A, B, AB, or O is absolutely vital. It's like a universal ID system for all our city's residents, making sure that if you ever need a transfer, the new arrivals are compatible and won't get rejected by the local security forces. Okay, so we can run checks on the city's transportation and repair crews. But what about our air intake system? How do we find out if unwanted invaders have gotten past the filters and are maybe polluting the city from the inside? For that, we can run something like an environmental quality report. It's called a sputum culture. By taking a sample from the respiratory tract and growing it in a lab, doctors can identify the exact pathogen that's causing an infection. It's just like taking a sample from the city's air filters to find out precisely what kind of pollution is causing the problem, so you can send in the right cleanup crew. And that really brings us full circle. The most important thing to remember is this. From the oxygen you just breathed in, to the nutrients being pulled from your last meal, to the tiny little platelets just waiting to heal a cut, no department in your body works alone. They are all deeply, deeply interconnected, each one playing its part in this beautiful, complex symphony that is you. It's this constant, silent collaboration that keeps you alive and thriving every single moment of every day. So, as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What part of this incredible, silent, internal teamwork amazes you the most? Thanks for joining the tour.